All right, Shalom, Shalom. It's Brother Atazadak here with Israel. I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to go into Habakkuk chapter 2, going into the Hebrew. As the Lord willing, you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Let's get right into it. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, right? Now, before I get into that, I'm going to revisit some words in chapter 1, right? Because I believe I kind of rushed it when it came to going over particular words, right? Now, verse 2 in chapter 1, the word anah, which means when or whence. For example, Psalms 121 says, Ma'ayan, from whence cometh my help, right? Which anah also means an occasion, right? You also have shad, which means violence. Let me see if I can get that real quick. Shad, check my notes. Also means to despoil, right? Which is also means the teat, right? The nipple, a part of the breast. The blue letter will say breast, but it's actually a part of the breast, which is the tit, the nipple, right? Shad also means devil, right? For example, Alashadya, meaning demon-like power, or the god of demons, right? Which is the Most High God, right? Which he works on the left and on the right hand, right? You have Pawag in verse 4, which literally means to be numb, right? In this case, it's saying, upon so the law is slack, right? Which I didn't go over properly. Again, I feel like I just kind of rushed it. You have Mashakan, which means tabernacle, right? In verse 6, right? Sha'ath, right? Which is, don't confuse it with Sha'ar, which means a remnant, or in certain cases, it's referencing leaven, right? But in this case, this is denoting, right, one's excellency, or one's manners, right? Whether it be good or bad manners, for example, right? An Omar means a leopard, right? Again, I'm just going over the keywords, right? Magamath, I went over that, right? Hawal, or hall, it just, in verse 9, it means sand, right? Hawal also means to twerk, to dance in circles, or to spin, right? To spin, right? Which is, that's what sand does when the various winds push it in various directions. It just goes all over, right? So like, yeah, sometimes when you're on the beach, there's like particular sand, little mini tornadoes that you'll notice. Even in particular places, right? For example, if you remember being on the blacktop, and there's a gust of wind, and You see many sand tornadoes, right? Depending on which part of the earth you're in, right? That's in verse 9. Now let's touch on Qualas, right? Which let's look it up in the we have various ways of looking it up. Look up the Hebrew concordance in Bible Hub. Just actually type in the Hebrew word, which I'm going to give you, right? Qual, which means light, swift, fleet. Maqual, a staff, figuratively, a rod. Qual, sound, right? Which sound travels at the speed of light, right? So it's like it's not a physical, right? Let's go to blue letter. Trying to find it. I know that's in numbers. Let's see if we can just get that real quick. Salakia. Just bear with me. Numbers 22 and 3, right? No, that's not what I was looking for. Let's look at that word curse. Qualal, which means to be light, to be diminished, to be despised, condemned, right? A little account, lightly esteemed, right? Which is, right? The Lord put us under the curses because he right? He set a sign upon us that we would be on His behalf, that He would be we would be lightly esteemed in His eyes because we went off, right? That's not the actual word for curse. The actual word for curse is arar, not alha, right? This just means oath right here, right? Arar is the actual word for curse. Salakia. Which has the same sentiment to abhor, to detest. Now the reason why I brought up Qualal, because that's what you read in Habbakkuk. Salakia, chapter 1 and verse 10, right? So let's go to that in the blue letter. Habbakkuk 1 and 10. Qualas, meaning to scoff, to mock, to scorn, really has the same sentiment as Qualal, right? To scorn, to lightly esteem, right? To deride. It's just the qual, the sa is added at the end, or in certain instances, right? You read certain words, it would read qualash, right? For example, if you read it as qualash or qualas, it would still have the same sentiment because the root is qualol, right? But in this case, it just means to scorn, not to scoff. It just means to scorn, to hold in contempt, more properly, right? Not to mock, right? Basically, it just means to scorn, right? Which is the origins are in the root word qualal. Sometimes it's known as curse, sometimes, right? So they're similar, right? I'm not saying it's the same thing, right? Let's look at Razan, because I didn't actually I have it in my notes. Which, yeah, that was right. A commander, right? The one that is lower in the ranks. Now I'm working on a dictionary. Here I found this app which lets me kind of build a small dictionary of these Hebrew words, which I'm working on it, right? I have some here, because when you use the things like the Hebrew lexicon or the blue letter, a lot of times you'll see repetitive entries. They're not really linking up these meanings, right? So here I kind of have, right, I have notes that I physically wrote down, but as I enter them into this dictionary, I can enter the word and its meaning, and it organizes everything for me in alphabetical order in Hebrew, and just have this simple explanation, right? I'd like to call it, hopefully, if I complete it, Lord's will, just um, um, Tazadox concordance analysis, Hebrew concordance analysis, because that's all it is, really. You go off the scriptures, you go off the precepts, right? If you're reading, right, again, the Hebrew is not going to make you or break you, right? As long as you stay in the Word, go into some Hebrew words here and there. You don't gotta know the whole Hebrew, the whole the vowel points and right every single word to receive salvation. It's about knowing, right, the prophecies and the things that will come to pass, right? We go into the Greek, you can go into the Hebrew, right? But the main focus is to receive this word, go out and teach, right? All that extra stuff goes after, right? Because as soon as I got into this thing, my main point was, right, get the breakdowns, right? Receive the understanding, get the breakdowns, go out and teach. It took me about maybe like a year and a half, right, to actually be at the forefront to teach. But I didn't know the Hebrew. I didn't even go into the Hebrew to this extent, right? So the main point is receive the word, right? Go out and teach, right? Do the sit downs, right? This is part of the sit downs, right? But it's not the end all be all, right? But let's get back to right. So qualas. Sometimes you'll read it as qualal, but it has the same, right, um, basic meaning, right? Which is why it's important to go into root words. Halap just means to exchange, right? Asham, trespass. Let's see what else we got. Shamathwa in verse 12, it just means to place, or sometimes you'll read it as Shayem or Shawam. La Hakyath Ha Kayach. It just means reproof, right? The word is nakach, meaning to be at the forefront, right? Haryash, the Haryash in verse 13, it just means to be silent. It also means artificer. Balai meaning to swallow, right? To devour, which the word throat, I believe the word throat is laya, Salakia, or lie, lie, right? Lie. Balai would be like in throat or as in to swallow, right? Balai. So it would be balai. And I think that's it pretty much for that. Qatar just means incense or to offer up as incense, right? Call means food. Sometimes it means to consume, right? And that's pretty much it. Oh, and haram, right? Like I said, it means ban. It means to devote to destruction. It means to lift up the sword to destroy, right? Figuratively or literally, but it's just another way to say destroy. Now in this case, it's called it's signified a net because what do you do when you do it when you embark when you proclaim a ban? You're separating one thing from being used, something from being used, and when you use a net, you're separating, right? When you catch what you're trying to catch, you're separating it from its right. For example, a fish, you're separating it from its habitat, which is why in a figurative sense it's called a net. The drag, which is a net with weights on it, makamar. Like I said, it has its origins in kabar, which means something coarse. Now in the Torah, kabar is known as um, something nearby, right? So you got to know your various definitions, right? Let's look at that real quick. Or monk in certain cases. Sometimes to yearn, right? Which is it's not hard, right? If you're constantly meditating on the word, right? Which is not it's not 100. You don't have to go into all the Hebrew words, right? There's translations that are mostly on point, like the King James Bible, right? New King James, right? For the most part. Um, and then at your leisure, if you right, if you'd like to dedicate, um, right, if you're right, say for example you're not a teacher, you want to dedicate more time in this walk, right? Yeah, you can go into the Hebrew. There's nothing wrong with that, but um that's not going to certify your salvation. That's not going to nullify it neither, right? Salakia. Now let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2. Now that we got that out the way, Salakia. Let me just So Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1, right? So it reads, so I can finish changing this, the setting, brightness. This is Habakkuk 2 and 1, right? So it reads, upon my watch I will stand, and I will station upon the post, right? And I will watch to see what he will speak unto me, and what I shall return upon my reproof, which would be all mashamar thaya imada wa thaya tazabah al matazar wa tazapah la ra'ath ma yadabar baya wa ma ashayab al thakach thaya. Right, basically Habakkuk is saying, I will stand upon my watch, right? I will station upon my post, upon the post, right? Our post is what? You have teachers set up in this thing, right? Our job is to be as watchmen, Ezekiel chapter 33, right? So this is the order that Habakkuk is giving out. Ezekiel gave out, various prophets, right? And there is a commandment for the people to stand upon their watch. And you have the people, then you have the teachers. Our job is to keep you updated on what's going on, right? Which in the ancient days you had convoys, messengers, right, that went from city to city on horsemen or on foot. You read about it in these various accounts, right? Whether they were prophets, whether they were just men relaying messages, this is our job. Now, those that are learning, or your job is to take up your station, your post, right? Right, because you're gonna. The scriptures say that straight and narrow is the way, right? Meaning, right, you're in your own individual walk. You're going to be you're going to go through things, right? Which is but reproofs from the Lord, right? And this is how the Lord speaks unto His people, right? By setting up trials, tribulations, right? Yahushai spoke about, you have he has spoke about things like, you have those that have been endured of my temptations, right? The servant is not above his master, and other things that he spoke about, right? But you have those that are set up to teach in this thing, and we're gonna, right, our job is to like it says in the book of Malachi, right, to produce that book of remembrance, right, which is written before the Lord, which is talking about the teachers, right, the word going out, right, and these experiences that we go through, connecting them to the precepts and the various accounts, the things that we see happening, right, in the current events, and bringing up the precepts, right. But the Lord also spoke to the flock, right, to watch and pray that you live to see the coming of the Son of Man. Meaning you got to watch, right? Watch the lessons, watch the current events, measure the time diligently, right? So there's a lot you can extrapolate from this verse, right? Habakkuk 2 and 2. And he answered me, the Lord, and he said, write the vision and inscribe it upon tablets For he that runneth, for so he may run that readeth in it. Waya Adna Naya Yahweh Waya Amar Kathab Chazwan Wa Ba'ar al Halachath Lamayan Yarataza Kwa Ra'a Bawa. Rataza means to run, right? Ba'ar, let's go into that word, verse 2. Ba'ar, right, which means well, right? But it also means a well, a pit. Sometimes it's bawar or ba'ar, meaning well or pit, or barar, which is a cognate meaning to purge, or bara'ah, meaning to create. But it also means fatlings, right? For example, you slay cattle, and you take the choice parts. They're like newly created because they're in your hand. They're fresh, right? But it also means to explain, to declare, to engrave. Just like it's just used in a figurative sense. You dig a well, a pit, right? You have to dig it meticulously, right? To make distinct, right? Every well is distinct. You dig a pit, a well, right? So it's just in a figurative sense, right? You gotta know what's going in and it's going out, right? Simply to engrave, right? Just like the word Pasach, it just doesn't mean Passover, right? Let's get that real quick. In certain instances, it means to be limp or halt. But let's see if we can just type it in the blue letter. Or I guess it's Pathach, Salakia. So Pathach, meaning to open or door, right? But it also means to engrave, to carve, right? Because you're opening the for example, if you carve on wood, you're kind of opening into it when you're cutting into it, right? So there's various Hebrew words to express particular things, right? Which is our job is to make things plain upon tables, right? So he that runneth, he that readeth may runneth, or that it can be read easily, right? Plainly, the new tablet is what? Your smartphone, which is lachath. Tablets or lachah, right? Habakkuk 2 and 3, because again, the vision, because even the vision unto its appointed time, or Salakia, because even the vision is unto the appointed time. Kaya Iwad Chazawan La Mawa'id, which Mawa'id means an appointed time or season, right? and it shall and it shall breathe unto the end, or and he shall breathe unto the end. Meaning the Lord put for example, the breath of life, which is known in the book of Genesis as nasham, meaning to pant, or in the New Testament when Yahushua breathed unto the apostles the Holy Spirit, which that word is pach, or sometimes you may read it as pash, right? It's like a pasha, meaning to spread out, right? It means the same thing, to breathe, to spread out. La quatazah, the word quatazah means from to one end or to the other. It also means to cut off, right? Which you cut off a stalk of a plant, that is the end of it. You have the end that which is cut off, right? So it's just in a figurative sense. Just like the word apas, it means an extremity, right? So it says wayapach la quatazah, and he shall breathe unto the end, which in the King James Bible, Salakia, it's read as but at the end it shall speak, right? Which is what it says here. Wayapach la quatazah, and shall not lie, wala'a ya kazab, right? Right, because you have this is the actual word for lie, kazab, or untruthfulness, right? Then you have, I believe it's kachash, which means to lie, but it also means basically it means to deny, right? Or a denier, or kachad, which means to disown. So it has the same, right? It's similar in meaning, but kazab is the actual word for lie, right? A liar. Akazab, or feminine form would be akazaba. So it says, if it tarries, wait unto it, because surely it shall come. It will not delay, right? Because that word achar meaning right, afterwards, right? It also means let's go over that. To delay, to refrain, tarry. So it says yathamama chaka lawa kaya ba'a yaba'a la'a ya'achar. Right. So to go into Habbakkuk 1 and 2, you got to have a pretty general understanding of the Hebrew, right? It's not for beginners to just go to it, right? You know basic words, and you just go to it, and you don't expect to understand it unless you have a basic understanding, right? Unless you expand your Hebrew vocabulary, which, like I said, these things are not necessary. It's good to go into a word here and there, but don't let it consume you, right? If you don't get it, or right, if you're trying to force yourself to get it, right, just read meditate on the word in the English. And if the Lord directs your heart, right, He's going to open your eyes. But it's not going to it's not going to. The prophecies are still going to be the same, right? Whenever you read it in English, mainly King James Bible, right? It's not. It's not the end all be all, like I said, right? So that word mama, the root is maha, meaning to tarry. Right? Let's look at that real quick. Habakkuk 2 and 3. Salakia. Which is Baha, meaning to tarry. Strong's H4102. Now it doesn't mean to deny, to refuse. It just means to linger, to tarry. Right? The Arabic would be Maha, slow walk, delay. Right? You read about that in the book of Genesis. Right? The angel told Lot to escape. Right? But he lingered, right? Because he was worried about his sons-in-law and etc., etc. But the angel laid hold upon his hand, upon the hand of his wife, the hand of his daughters, right? And forcibly took him out of the city. Because Lot was reluctant to leave his sons-in-law. Now the word hakah again, it means hook, fish hook, figuratively to wait, right? Let's look up hakah, which is in the book of Job. Like I said, certain entries, you're not going to read them all in one entry, these various meanings. Which is why the Lord said to read, right, in the book of Isaiah, thou shalt not want her mate, right? Revelation 1 and 3, read, blessed is he that readeth. Let's just type it in the blue letter. Hakah, angle, hook, right? Job 41, Isaiah 19, Habakkuk 1 and 15. Which an angle is a hook, right? The Lord said, wait unto it, because surely it will come and it will not tarry. Which is here on the right, says, a truthful witness for a time that will come, which is not really saying that in the Hebrew, but, right, it's just loosely translated, right? Because though a tarry, right, which reminds me of a precept, I believe that's in the book of Ezekiel. Let me see if I can get that real quick. Let's just type it in. Ezekiel chapter 12 and 23. Salakia. Which says, Son of man, verse 22, Son of man, what is the proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word, and will perform it, saith the Lord God. It's talking about Israel being cast out. Verse 26, again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesieth of the times that are far off. Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord God. Just talking about now, right? You have two different contrasts, right? The acceptable year, right? In the book of Isaiah says, I've heard thee in an acceptable time. This is from the NIV, Isaiah 49 and 8. This is what the Lord says, in the time of my favor will I answer you, and in the day of salvation will I help you. I will keep you and make you to be a covenant for the people, to restore the land, to reassign its desolate inheritances. Right? Just talking about the remnant, right? Being preserved, right? Causing the word to go out, right? To make the remnant inherit the desolate heritages. Habbakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4, which is, you read about this in the book of Romans chapter 1. Behold, is exalted, which is not upright, his soul which is in him, and the righteous in faith they shall live. Hana ipala la'a yashara napashwa bawa wa tazadayak ba amanath wa yechaya. Right, the word Paul, it means a mound, or right, in certain instances it means hemorrhoids. Right, let's see if we can get that real quick. Habbakkuk 2 and 4. Paul, Strong's H6075. To be lifted up, to be presumed, to swell up, to be tumid, to suffer from a tumor or hernia, or that's what it is. But it means like a mound, right? Which is translated in certain instances. You should read about Numbers 14:44. Which it says presumed, but It would literally read, and they mounted up themselves to ascend up to the summit. Right? Not to presume. Right? Then you read that in Habbakkuk. Right? Let's type in I Paul. Which you get other accounts. Amarad, a mound hill, tumor. Deuteronomy 28:27. 1 Samuel 5 and 6. So on and so forth. Hill, right? Figuratively. Mound hill. It's talking about Esau Edom, right? Behold is lifted up or haughty, which is not upright. Yasharah, his soul, right? Where it's puffed up, right? However you want to say it. And the righteous in faith they shall live, right? So this is talking about Esau Edom, right? Habakkuk 2 and 5, and also because by wine is the treacherous man, Wa'ap kaya ha yayan bagad gabar, right? Bagad meaning treacherous, gabar man or warrior. He is presumptuous, right? Or arrogant, however you want to say it. Ya hayar, Ya meaning he, hayar, right? The root is har, meaning a mountain, which is just another way to say arrogancy. And he does not reside in which he have made wide, like unto the grave, or sha'awal, which is the grave, Sheol, which is why it says Wala'a ya Nawa, Nawa meaning to reside or a residence or habitation, right? Ashar ha Rachayab ka Sha'awal Napashwa, meaning to his soul or to his satisfaction, right? Because that word Napash means soul, but it also means to be refreshed. In certain cases, like in the Proverbs, it means to one's own liking, right? For example, you have a saying, "Eat to your soul's desire," right? Which is off, right? Because the scriptures say, "Do not be satiated in any dainty thing," right? Satiated, not to overindulge. So it says, "Wahawa kamawath," and he is like death, and is not satisfied, and he is not satisfied. Wala'aya shabai, and he gathereth unto him all nations. Waya asap aliwa kal hagwayim, and he heapeth up unto him all the peoples. Waya kwabataza aliwa kal ha'amayim. So Gawayim means nations, Amayim mean peoples. Habakkuk 2 and 6, will not these, all of them, lift up a proverb, or ascend up, or Salakia, let me just go to the blue letter. Habakkuk 2. Habbakkuk chapter 2. So let's see. Habbakkuk chapter 2 and 6. So it says, shall not these, all of them against him, a proverb lift up unto him, right? Hala'a alha kalam al yawa mashal yasha'awa. And Salakia. And a taunting parable unto him, which is why it says ma layataza, because that word, the root word is lawataza, meaning to scoff, which is the actual word for scoff, or to scorn, not to mock. The word mock is or to jest is shachak, right? And he taunting a parable unto him. Wama layataza chayadath lawa. Chayada, it doesn't mean proverb. Mashal is a proverb, which is why the book of Proverbs is called Mashalium. Ha Mashalium. This means a parable. Dark saying, question, proverb, riddle, enigma, which is what a parable is. It's an enigma. A parable. And they shall say, woe unto he that multiplieth that which is not unto him, even until when, till what time, Amar Hawaya, Ha Maraba, La'a Lawa, Ad Mataya, because that word Mataya, meaning what, meaning ma, Aitha, it's a combination of ma and Aitha. Maitha, what time, right? Even to what time, right? Or how long, right? And one that maketh heavy upon himself thick clay, which is kabad, meaning heavy or honor. Wama kabyad al yawa ibat yat. Now the word ibat means to lend, which is a tayat. Let's get that. Let me just check my notes. Tayat meaning mud. So ibat meaning to lend, tayat meaning to mud. So it means it's thick clay or depth, which is what Esau does. He makes heavy upon himself the debts, which is not real debt, right? This is right. There's books you can read on that, right? How central banks are created, right, out of nothing. They're backed by essentially nothing, right? And America Babylon the Great is a giant is a business. It's not right. It's not a country, it's a business. It's a scam, it's a right, enigma, right? Habbakkuk 2:7, when suddenly they rise up to bite thee, let's go into the blue letter. Shall not suddenly they rise up to bite thee, and they be awakened. Slack, I don't know what I just clicked on. That vex thee, because that word zawai means to agitate, thee, right? Because as this word is going out, right, the nations are they realizing that Esau is full of shit, and Esau, he's been known that the nations are full of shit. We're not full of shit because we're a nation in exile, right? But we know what is going to happen. We're bringing all these things out, and really Esau screwed himself because he made the internet, right? Certain of these archaeological finds, right? He's so proud that he really thought he was going to get away with what he did to the children of Israel, right? The nations too, right? They still think they're going to get away with it because they've been seduced by demons, right? They're whispering, the demons are whispering in their ear. They're saying, yeah, you don't worry about that. You know, you're gonna make it. Where's the Lord, right? Which is why this is what the heathens do. They call upon their spirits, their guides, right? The Lord is going to confound all of that, right? In its proper time, right? Scriptures say we don't hasten at the grace of the Lord, right? Paul the Apostle said that, right? The Lord said to Paul the Apostle, "My grace is sufficient for thee," because Paul the Apostle had a thorn on his side, right? He was going through whatever he was going through, right? The Lord said, "Don't worry about that," right? That's not your job. Your job is to do your job, right? My grace is enough for you, right? Do your work and finish it, right? So suddenly the nations are right gaining momentum. They're basically, and they're biting already, right? Because they're rebelling against the beast, right? You got Russia creating a gold standard, right? You got conflicts in Ukraine. You got in Hawaii. You got places all of a sudden burning up. The Japhets are now being affected. Now they're getting a taste of reality. Because the Lord ain't really did a lot to Japheth. Well, he did, because in Australia they had it, they got genocided. But the Lord is even telling Japheth, look, man, this isn't a game. This is the God. This is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The goddamn devil. Can't trust this demon Esau, right? And the nations know that they're demons too, So that word is not the actual word for vex. It means to agitate, right? To shake, agitate. The word for vex is actually kayas. Right? So it says, will not suddenly they rise up to bite thee. Hala Pathai Yakwamwa Nashak Yaka Wayakwatazawa, and they be awakened. Those that agitate thee, Mazai Zai Yaka, and thou shalt be for a plunder unto them. Wachaya Yatha La Lama Shasath Lamwa. Right, because the nations are rebellion. Ultimately, they're going to make war with the whore. Right? And that's just one axis of Esau's power that they're going to destroy. Then they're going to be in conflict with all of Esau's allies, right? NATO, EU, right? And basically, they're all hell's going to break loose, right? So they're going to destroy each other and those that fear the Lord, which is happening now. But right, they're going to turn on each other when things get desperate, when desperation kicks in, and you can already tell, right? Something fishy's going on, right? Esau's acting like the chariots are talking to him, and right, all kinds of craziness. But that's what you have to expect, right? The book of Jeremiah chapter 30 says, a time like which has not been since the foundation of the world, right? So we're going to be downtrodden, we're going to be in a bad case when these things happen, right? Scriptures say to wait upon him, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Which is why the Lord says, that are wounded with a grievous sore. Right? The nations are going to get, their charagma and have grievous sores, but right, we're gonna, right, the Lord's gonna put us through hell, basically, right, to get this kingdom, right. So our job is to, right, the particular infirmities, right, you gotta, right, keep pushing, right. Now's not the time to be slack. Now's not the time to be a master regurgitator, right. Habbakkuk chapter 2 and verse 8. Because thou hast preyed upon nations many, they shall prey upon thee, all that remain of the nations, because of the blood of men. Kayat atha shalath gawayim rabiim yashalka kal yathar amayim madamya adam. Because the word shalath, the word shalal, meaning prey. Right, Esau has preyed upon the nations, right? Dropped bombs on Hiroshima, went to the land of Ham, chopped off, the little Hamite children's hands and shit like that. Just a bunch of crazy shit. Right? He goes to the Middle East and bombs the hell out of them. Right? What you read about that, the crimes, his war crimes in this chapter. Right? Because he's not innocent. The other nations, they're not innocent either. We're not innocent because we sinned like our forefathers. The Lord said to keep away, and we screwed it up completely. So it says, and the violence of the land, of the city, and all the inhabitants in it. Wa Hamas arataza kwarya wakal yashabia baha. Right, the violence of the land or the earth, right, and all the inhabitants in it, right? So Esau goes, conquers, spreads his democracy, his lies, confusion, his system, his right. You're either gonna do business with him, or you're gonna be out of business. So that's a tough pill to swallow, which is why the nations are mad, because Esau is he knows he has a short time. The remnant are waking up, right? This is not like any other time. This is not business as usual, right? Something's gonna go down eventually, right? It's only a matter of time. But it highlights it here in the translation very well. Habakkuk 2:8. Because you plundered many nations, all surviving people shall plunder you for crimes against humans and wrongs against lands, against cities and all their inhabitants. Habakkuk 2:9. Woe unto the unrighteous gain of the wicked, which is unto his house to place on high his nest, um, to deliver from the souls of the wicked. Right, so this is what Esau does. Hawaii batazai rai labayatwa lashawam ba marawam kwanwa laha natazal makap rai. Right, so Esau is full of unrighteous gain. Right, he acquires it on his behalf, for his people, to exalt himself above all nations. Right, to sit in the seat of God as if he is God, which is the ultimate insult to injury. Is going to be when he pulls that charagma out, right, and says to the nations, "You're going to take this, or you're going to die." Which a lot of people are going to take it, right? Because a lot of people are disillusioned by this how do you call it, disillusioned, right, by these seducing spirits, right, by all this technology. People are so complacent that they'll do it for the sake of safety, or because, right, the nations know, well, that doesn't matter, right, because we know who Esau. We know Esau Edom. We know who he is. There's a sign on who Esau is. We're gonna get the upper hand eventually, like Russia, China, Iran, right? In time, right? Because, right, there's the other nations are vast, right? Esau's been cursed with right, which is why he needs his mark, because he's not right multiplying as he should, right? Which is why you have all these false flags, all these, right, Crown 719. All these things are deterrents for the nations, right? And the number one target is the nation of Israel. Sadly, but right, that's just how the Lord is making this thing happen, right? Unjust gain to places his nest on high, right? And the Lord gave Esau that power, and He's going to give him that power, right? To deliver from the souls of the wicked, right? This is why you see Esau in these good areas. He has his places where he's already, his regions where he's already well established, right? You can't take that away, because there's something's people are gonna notice, right? So this is why the Lord said Satan is divided against Satan, right? Esau has his eyes on the top spot. The nations have the eyes on the top spot, we have our eyes on the top spot, but right, ours is already promised, right? And however the Lord does it, right? Right now it doesn't seem like right the Lord isn't acting, but He's acting with through the Word, right? Which our job is to right keep pushing, right? So this is why Esau's nest is on high to deliver from the souls of the wicked, as in the soles of the feet, right? Because his defense right now is the armies, his hegemony, right, his laws, right, and the world is watching. That's kind of right. That's it on his side, right? But that's kind of on our side too. It's kind of on the nation side, right? So it is kind of like a get together where everyone's watching, everyone's seeing who's gonna make the next move. Is it the Lord? Is it Esau Edom? Is it the nations? Is it Gog and Magog? Right? The world is watching, right? And these are beautiful times that we're in. So Habakkuk 2 and 10, he has counseled shame to thou hast counseled shame to your house, to cut off peoples many, and to sin unto your soul. Ya itazath bashath la bayathka quatazath mayim rabiim wa chata'a napashka. Right? So Esau thought he was being slick, right? But that shame is coming out, right? Really, it's better that he never took any documented any of these things that he did to Jake, documenting but his pride didn't stop him from doing that, from documenting what he did to these other nations as well, to add sin onto his soul, right? Habakkuk 2 and 11, because the stone from the wall shall cry out, and the post of the wood will answer it. Kaya aban makwayar ta zaak wakapyas ma aitaza ya aina salakia kapyas would be not posts. I thought that said kapyum. Kapias meaning beam. Kapas is the root, meaning to connect a gird or a beam. So this basically says, because the stone of the wall will cry out and the beam of the wood will answer it. This is kind of like a dark saying that's talking about, right, the testament to Esau's wickedness is in, right, the fact that he conquered these lands, the fact that these things were documented, right? You got pictures of Jake being hung, burned alive. You have Esau, the testament. He took over these lands, which the Lord gave him that power to take over America, Babylon the Great, to outcast the Gadites, the Native Indians, Trail of Tears, all that the Lord gave Esau the go to do that. But it was as a testament unto his wickedness, because he didn't have to go that extra mile, but he did. The nations they didn't have to go that extra mile, but they did it for the money, right? But that's their testament. That's a testament to their wickedness, right? Which you can look at archaeology, you can look at, right, all these things. Esau boasts in. It's technology, right? An example, right, is a structure, a house, right, where Esau would hang his pictures of his nobles, of his great men, right? And then, for example, Queen Elizabeth, right? She would have portraits drawn of her, right? Then next to it, there would be a crown of jewels that she took from Africa, right? The stone shall cry out from the wall, the beam from the wood will answer to it, right? So even the things that Esau kept, right, as souvenirs are a testament against him, right? Habakkuk 2:12. Woe unto he that buildeth a city upon blood, and establishes a city upon unrighteousness. Hawaii bana ayar badamium wa kawanan kwarya ba ila. Habakkuk 2:13. Is it not behold from the Lord of hosts, and they shall toil the peoples in the self same fire, and to the nations in the self same vanity they toil themselves, they weary themselves. Hala hana ma'ath Yahweh tazabawath, waya yagaiwa amayim badya ash, wala amayim badya rayak ya'apwa, because that word bad meaning alone, or badya ash meaning alone in a fire or in the self same fire, right? So the toils, right, which is your guy. Esau is toiling. He's pushing towards his charagma. At the same time, you have the nations, right? They're playing catch up, right? They're all racing toward to see who can get that top spot, right? And they're laboring in that same fire, right? Right. And in the same vanity. When you toil in fire, you work around fire, right? You're sweating all the time. You're right. Meaning they're hastening. They're laboring in vanity. In vanity they weary themselves. Because this is what the other nations want. They want to make their own Babylon the Great, America Babylon the Great. And it's all in vain, right? And it's of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right? Because at the end of the day, we're going to be justified in our sayings and when we speak. Because we're not lying, right? This isn't made up. The Bible isn't made up. It's real, and it's speaking, right? It's coming alive. Habakkuk, and it's funny because it's been in front of our face the whole time. It's been in front of Esau's face. Well, Esau knows that. The spiritual demon Satan, right? Mainly the elites, right? They're telling them they already got that guarantee that they're gonna make it, right? So far, right? Through the left hand spirits, right? We know it's already been promised through the Spirit of the Lord, which is complete righteousness, right? And the nations, they're just been deceived, right, by the seducing spirits. Yeah, go ahead, keep doing it. Yeah, you got it. They're not gonna find out, But it's all in vain. Which is why it says in Book of Micah that they don't understand the counsel of the Lord. They look upon Israel to be defiled. Let's get that real quick. Salakia. Micah 4:11. Now also many nations are gathered against thee, that say, Let her be defiled, and let our eye look upon Zion. But they know not the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand they his counsel. For he shall gather them as sheaves unto the floor. He's talking about the remnant. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy hooves brass. Thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. Right? Habbakkuk chapter 2 and verse 14. Because shall fill the earth with the knowledge unto the glory of the Lord. Because will be filled the earth with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, like the waters it shall cover upon, like the waters which cover upon the sea. This is twofold because this word is going out, right, and it's covering the whole earth. The name of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, right, what will come to pass. And this is twofold because the chariots will literally cover the waters of the sea. Right? That is part of the Lord's glory, right? The holy angels, which are the so-called UFOs, UAPs, right? Some people call them spirits. Now you have left-hand spirits already kind of working, right? But the Lord is going to the Lord is just waiting for that the right time, right? For the chariots to Yahweh Shai, right? The Michael the archangel, right? It's gonna be that's not gonna be glorious. It's gonna be scary as hell, right? But the chariots covering the skies and covering the seas and Yahweh Shai returning, that's gonna be glorious. But there's mainly talking about the knowledge of this word and the things that will come to pass. So it says, Kaya mala'a ha rataza ladayath atha kabad Yahweh kamayim yakaswa al yam. Habakkuk 2 and 15. Woe unto he that giveth drink unto his neighbor. Let's go to the blue letter. Which attacheth, which sapach means to attach or to join, right? To join, to attach, which attacheth the bottle Hamath Ka, which Hamath it just means bottle or wineskin. That attacheth the bottle unto thee, right? This is the Lord talking about Esau, talking to the nations. Which what is attaches the bottle unto thee. Hawaii Mashakwa, Rayawa Masapach, Hamathka, which is the fornication, right? That wine, that strong drink, the philosophies, right? For example, when you recently some of the brothers at camp said you can't mix dark liquor with light liquor, it's gonna mess you up. But this is what Esau does. He messes up the nations by combining all these philosophies, mixing it all, right? They call it jungle juice. And that shit makes you, right, messes you up, right? So this is what Esau does. He heapeth all people unto himself, just like in Genesis chapter 3, or chapter 4, I believe. because he's enticed by sin, because he is the man of sin, the man of perdition, the destroyer. So it says, and also make him drunk, in order to look upon their nakedness. Iwar. Which means to be made bare. Which sometimes you read Iwar or Ira or Irath. Sometimes Irath means filthy, filth. Wa'ab Shakar Lamayan Habayat Al Ma'awar Yaham. Right? Because basically, in modern society, this is what the nations just they want, you know, the the normal or the general population just wants their shelter, their food. They want to keep being wicked, which Esau gives you the ability to do that, and to be complacent via technology, via convenience. This is how Esau is gonna. This is the reason why the majority are gonna take the charagma, for safety, for security, food security, right? But it's gonna be this is that snare that shall come upon all the earth, right? Because the WEF, World Economic Forum, they're already telling you what they're gonna do with you. They said you're gonna own nothing, you're gonna like it, right? If you're not with their agenda, they're just gonna turn that thing off, and you're gonna be screwed. You're not gonna be able to purchase anything. They're gonna cut you off from society. And the nakedness, right, that Esau is doing. Take an example of the land of Ham, right? Esau's looking upon their nakedness. He can go there. He can put shit in them. Esau can go to like Uganda. They're forcing the image of the beast, Jamaica, on these particular vulnerable regions, right? They can't go to Russia and do that because they're gaining momentum. But this is what Esau. He doesn't want the other nations to gain momentum. Habbakkuk 2:16. They shall be satisfied with shame instead of honor. Drink even thou, and be uncovered. And thou shalt and turn and Salakia. Thou shalt be turned about against thee, right? So basically, it's saying, and nakedness, and thou shalt be uncovered. Salakia. Thou shalt be uncovered. Thou shalt be turned about. Or Salakia, and nakedness would be round about upon thee, right? Or basically, thou shalt be uncovered round about thee, meaning, right? You're gonna be ousted as the main perpetrator, right? Which it says Shabayath Kwalwan Makabad Shatha Gam Shatha Waha Iral, meaning to be uncovered. Thasab, meaning roundabout. Al Yakah upon thee. Your foreskin shall be uncovered round about thee. Kawas Yamayim Yahweh, the cup of the right hand of the Lord. Right, which is Yahweh Shai is the right hand of the Lord. The cup of the right hand of the Lord that's talking about Yahweh Shai returning in the destruction. Right, so it's basically saying, thou art filled with contempt for instead of glory, drink, even thou. Right, and thou shalt be uncovered round about, meaning and the foreskin shall be round about, meaning the foreskin will be uncovered round about. Loosely translated, it would say, and the foreskin would be round about, right? As in, you'll be uncovered. Your foreskin is going to be uncovered, meaning you're going to be exposed. Against thee would be the cup of the right hand of the Lord, which is this word, right? And shamefulness would be upon your glory, right? Which is why it says, Kwalwan al kabadka. Verse 17, because of the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the despoiling of beast, the despoiling of beast, shall make them dread, right? The violence of Lebanon. Lebanon is north of the Holy Land, which is going up towards where modern day Iraq and all these places that Esau has constantly bombed, and right, and there's a reason to that, right? Because he doesn't want any particular people to forward themselves and their structures and their economies. And the despoiling of beast, right? Which they dreaded, right? Because you go to these particular parts of Africa, even in the Middle East, Esau just goes there and he hunts, right? And these are right. If you live in these areas, right, these are the type of beasts that you fear. But Esau goes, and he just right. He shows you right. He'll go into the mountains and right, and camp in the middle of where there's mountain lions and all types of shit, right? Which you got particular nations living in these parts, and they have to survive. They have to like actually be careful in these areas. But Esau just goes and right brings his guns, and right he makes a game out of it, out of hunting these beasts, right? And it says, because of the blood of men and the violence of the land, of the city, and all the inhabitants in it, right? Kaya Hamas Laban 1 Yakaska Washad Bahamath Yachayathan Madamya Adam Wa Hamas Rataza Kwarya Wakal Yashabya Baha. Right? Which is you see Edomites hiking and climbing these Mount Everest, and right, Esau doesn't give a damn, right? Habakkuk 2 and 18. What profit is the graven image because it is engraved by the artificer, which is poured out, which is that word is masakah, a molten image or poured out. Ma ha'ayal pasal kaya pasalwa yatazarwa masakah, and a teacher of falsehood because he trusteth in it. He that formed it upon it to make dumb idols. Wa shakwar kaya batach yatazarwa al yawa la aishath al yalyum alamyam. Because that word al yal is just another way to say idol, but it means ungodliness. Because an idol is an ungodliness, right? Alamyam, alam just means to be dumb, right? Dumb idols, mute. Habakkuk 2 and 19. Woe unto he that saith unto the wood, awake and stir thyself up, to the stone that is silent, can he direct? Behold, it is spread out with gold and silver, and all breath, and all manner of breath there is not in its midst. Hawaya amar la aitaza, ha kwayataza, iwarya, la aban dama, hawa yara, hana hawa, thapash, zahab, wakasap, wakal raka, ayan bakor rawa. Which is what these nations, they rely on their seducing spirits and their spirit guides and their oracles and their traditions. Because a lot of these idols are just, for example, Tammuz and Serapis Christus. These are actual people that lived on Earth, and they have turned them into they immortalized them, their memory, into these idols, just like Caesar Borgia. It's just an ungodly custom. That's all it is, right? Habakkuk 2 and 20. And the Lord is in his holy temple. Be silent before him all the earth. Wa Yahweh bahayakol kodashwa chasa mapanyawa kal ha-rataza. Right, because basically this word is going out, right? These other philosophies aren't saying nothing, right? And the world is going to be silent when the Lord visits the earth, right? Ba'ashem Mashayak Yahushai. So with that, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, going into the Hebrew. It's Brother Yatazadak, hero of Israel. And as always, Lord willing, you were edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hawakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwame Asha Allah, Abad Abal, and Shalom. Right? It's going to fade out and fade in, right? Give it a little effect. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hawakwadash. Shalom, Abad Abal, Shalom.